Hi, I'm Maria Thea Harris-Silvello on social media. Welcome back to So Over 50 podcast on Soul Organized Style. Grab a cuppa and relax with us.
It is, and it's so funny because I come from a scientific and technical background where the two essentials are precision and accuracy. That's my whole life was precision and accuracy. But with sewing, I can assure you, close enough is good enough with me.
That's Julie Hastings from Newcastle, Australia. She's a local who sews and enjoys life. You'll find Julie on Instagram at Hastings436. A big shout out to the podcast's Patreon supporters. I'd love it if you could join them in supporting this podcast each month so that I can continue to provide it to you for free. Let's listen to Julie because she has a few secrets to tell. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Maria. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Nervous.
And why would you be nervous?
Oh, it's like Frocktails. Seeing you and Sandy, it's like sewing royalty, like, oh my God.
Well, actually, you were saying royalty, and I'll explain to listeners why. So on the day of Frocktails at Newcastle, I caught up with Sandy, Pam, and Jenny for coffee because they'd just flown in that morning, probably got up at 4 a.m. I found them and we're sitting there just chatting, totally excited to be together and to be there for Newcastle Frocktails. And Sandy pipes up and she goes, "That's Julie." Going, "What?" She's going, "That's Julie. She's just walking across the road." So she got really excited and I got really excited. So there you go.
There you go.
So I just thought I'd let you know that no matter who you are in the sewing community, when you get spotted by someone who has seen you online and finally sees you in real life, it's exciting.
That was just a wow factor when I saw you and Sandy walk in because I didn't realise you were coming. I hadn't looked at the final guest list. I went, oh my God.
It was fun. And then, we caught up with a couple of people that I already knew from other Frocktails, which was really nice. And then seeing all of the photos afterwards, it was like, oh, I remember that dress. Oh, yeah. And she looked really great. And weren't the guys amazing?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Did you hear the story about their outfits?
Yes. Do you want to tell the listeners what the story was?
Yes. My friend Bill, who's the most amazing sewer, his work is gorgeous. He bought 20 meters of polyester for $1 a meter in Mexico, brought it back for Mardi Gras Fair Day here, and he made one of his usual frocks, which are just amazing, and a parasol and a matching shirt for Andrew. Mardi Gras Fair Day was cancelled, so he ripped the dress apart and made a matching shirt so they could wear them to Frocktails.
And I tell you what, listeners need to go and have a look at the photos that were posted. It was, totally like 100% humidity that night.
Oh, it was the night before, and that night with the worst forever humidity ever, and the aircon wasn't working. But I've got a secret.
Yeah. Can you tell us, or is this mum?
I will. If I get into trouble, I don't know, because I've been hunting out the new venue for Frocktails next year, and I have found the venue.
Yay!
Which I will be absolutely incredible. A great showplace for everyone's frocks. It's Fort Scratchley Function Centre. So it overlooks the beach on one side and the barbs, and back over the city on the other side.
Oh.
The Fort Scratchley's a big old fort on top of the hill, and the function centre's just nestled into the hill outside their gates. So that's what we've been working on. And a date, the 22nd of March, a Saturday night.
2025.
Yes.
You heard it here first.
Had to get in now because everything gets booked out. Well, I had a tentative booking and there were already people after it for weddings on that night. So took the plunge and we've gone with that.
Well done, Julie.
Isn't it funny? I said to someone, I've organised so many parties and retirement things, but that was probably the most stressful thing, Frocktails. That day, we're at the committee, we're all sending messages to each other. I've got butterflies in my stomach. Oh my God, just terrified that it wasn't going to work. And it did. It was the most fantastic night. Just amazing, except for the heat.
I was really pleased that we had a really welcoming committee and that it was in a beautiful location. Because of where it was located on the ferry wharf, it actually did get a bit of a breeze, and the staff were really lovely in getting drinks and food around to us. So I didn't feel like I missed out on anything other than I should have been there for a whole lot longer and talked to a whole lot more people.
That's how I felt too. I didn't get round to everyone, but it was amazing. And it was just great. When I saw someone come in and went, "Oh, you've got a Lois dress," then I looked around, I thought, "There's another Lois dress." And I realised there were 4. So we got a photo of those 4 together and how they all looked so different. Totally different.
I ended up buying that pattern after that night.
I was just looking at a So Over 50 post with Tremaine on it.
Yes.
And as soon as I saw the animal print dress, I went, "Oh, that's ME2016, which is what I posted myself at the races." And I thought, every time I see it, and there were 2 people at Frocktails and that, it just looks so different on everyone. It's just incredible. It's a beautiful pattern.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's very good. Obviously, you sew clothes. We're getting back to the questions now.
Yes.
So how long have you been sewing for, Julie?
60 years since I was 12.
And what happened at that time when you were 12?
My mother always made all our clothes. She was self-taught, but a beautiful, beautiful dressmaker. And I just decided, Mum was out, that I wanted to make a dress. And it was I dragged out a pattern that she'd been using, which was just a very simple shift dress from the 1960s, went to her stash, got, "Oh, this would be nice," not thinking of the consequences of what I was doing. Mum came home. I said, "What are you doing?" "I've just made a dress." I didn't get into trouble. What I'd done, I cut the back out as the front, had a seam down the front instead of the back.
Oh, yeah.
It was a complete disaster. So Mum showed me where I'd gone wrong, and off we went from there.
Oh, great.
So I've never had any formal training at all in sewing. In the last few years, I've done 2 masterclasses with Jean Bass to draft a dress block and a pant block, and that has just been so informative. I have learnt so much from that.
Mm.
And we have our monthly sewing ladies who lunch gathering, and I sit there sometimes, I just want to put my head down and think, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't do any of that. Like, talk about full bust adjustments and sloping shoulder, and I think I just wing it.
And that's another way of sewing too.
It is, and it's so funny because I come from a scientific and technical background where the 2 essentials are precision and accuracy.
Yeah.
And that's my whole life, was precision and accuracy. But with sewing, I can assure you, close enough is good enough with me.
I love that.
And I miss my mum.
Yeah.
For lots of reasons, but I would drive down in a dress all pinned, and she would just tweak, like, "You need a little bit out of the shoulder here," and all those adjustments we're talking about. "You need a little bit out of the back on this side," all those things you can't see yourself.
Yeah.
Really great. It makes a really good fitting garment. But everything I wear these days is loose, so it doesn't matter.
And you choose some really great colours too.
I'll let you on a secret.
Okay.
My addiction is not sewing, it's collecting fabric. I love fabric. I don't care who knows. I have a stash I've worked out if I make 2 outfits a year, say for the next 10 years, I'm not even going to make a dent in that stash. And all my sewing friends have got little dresses or cotton reels after their name in my contacts. And I have said to my son, if I fall off my perch, you ring these people, they will come and take the fabric. He's threatened he's going to burn my stash. But
no,
going to all my friends, they can do what they want with that then.
They'll miss you though.
What I do when I get home, I do probably the worst thing that any, sort of couturier would hate, or tailor. If it says only dry clean, I don't care. I wash it, shove it in the dryer. That's the worst I can ever do to fabric. I will never do that again. But I figure I've done the worst, nothing more can happen to it. I treat it beautifully after that. And then I usually take it to bed with me and look at it and stroke it. And then I have it hanging on the back of a chair, and oh my God, that's gorgeous. And I end up with about 10 pieces all over the lounge room. Oh, aren't you beautiful? Just looking at them, feeling them. That was my mother. We used to go shopping, and I used to have to look at pattern books while she was looking at pattern books and look at fabric. But she always used to show me about body in the fabric and the drape and whether it crushed. think she'd be horrified with linen these days and how everything crushes, but probably got my love of fabric then. But you said about colour. All my life I've worn blue, all shades of blue. But when I let my hair go white, I realised I could wear black. I could wear bright colours, just totally changed my outlook on colours. And then I've had someone who's been encouraging me to do this, and the same person who encouraged me to go on Instagram said, go out there. Older people want to look great. They'll see you, a larger size, bright colours, go for it. So she's been encouraging me the whole time to do that.
That's really good.
And I think you may have met her that night, Jean Bass.
Oh, yes. She's an amazing find. I never knew she existed in Newcastle or in Australia until that night.
She has survived the rag trade many times in Australia. I often pop round, talk to her, and I watch while she's doing stuff. And doing the 2 masterclasses with her, she gives so much of herself. I've never met anyone who is so passionate about what they do after over 50 years. And I learn little hints and tricks, but I'm still pretty slapdash.
It sounds like you and Jean have an ongoing conversation.
We do. You know, I didn't know what this Instagram was all about. She said, no, you've got to pose. She was the one who took some of my first photos, and she'd say, you've got a great laugh, smile, throw your head back, laugh. And so she often takes a lot of my photos that I post. So
That's really good.
really great woman.
And in Newcastle, you've got a lot of street art. And I think, does she take you to those areas to take photos with you in your outfits?
No, we usually just do it at the front of her studio.
Oh.
In Cooks Hill, in Derby Street. The other ones that are all throughout Newcastle, what I do, I just wander along. And if I see a young, interesting person come along, I say, excuse me, and they look at me and I say, would you mind taking a few photos of me for my Instagram account? I sew and I like to post them. They go, oh, certainly. I'm very cheeky in my old age.
I can't see why you shouldn't be.
So it works.
I'd encourage people to go to your Instagram account. What is your Instagram name?
Very boring. Hastings 436. I didn't know anything about Instagram. That just came up. I don't even have a proper Facebook account. I've got one, but I don't post anything. And I've realised now that they're linked. It came up and I thought, oh, what's this Instagram thing? And I looked at it and I said, oh my God, there's all this sewing. A whole world I didn't know about. And I just got totally enthralled for ages watching. And that's when Jean started saying, no, you've got to post on it. And I go, oh, who wants to look at me? No, you've got to do it. I just see all these amazing women. I shouldn't be sexist. There are a few men, but amazing women doing these beautiful, beautiful things. I just, I'm in awe of so many of them. Just like looking at Tremaine today, so fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's so many people like that out there.
That's right. There's so many of us. And it's great that we've given ourselves visibility, not only on Instagram, but through the Sober 50 community.
Yes. It's great. And I get a real buzz now. I like just before Easter, I went on the train to Sydney and I had a dress on from the train to Surrey Hills. You wonder why I'm going to Surrey Hills, wouldn't you?
No, I know why you're going to Surrey Hills.
I had 6 compliments on my dress. Here's me, old 72 years old. People say, excuse me, you look wonderful. That dress is so great. It's so vibrant. I said, oh, thank you. I made it. And they go, oh, did you? Yes.
That's good. And so they should. It's great that you were stopped. You travelled all the way from Newcastle to Sydney. And that's what happened when you got off the train.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Usually I drive and my car, not me, my car just goes straight to Surrey Hills to a couple of places there, then straight over to Newtown. And it's not my fault. The car does it. That's my story anyway. I'm sticking to it. It makes another stop at Redfern on the way to a French patisserie. Surrey Hills, Redfern, Newtown.
Okay, so where do you go to in Surrey Hills?
To Sooty, and then to Draper's at Newtown and the fabric store, and to All Buttons, great and small. And then I usually wing back because my son lives in Sans Souci, so I'll wing back down Botany Road and go to the Remnant Warehouse.
You know, when I came up to Newcastle, I thought, oh, what fabric places do you go to in Newcastle?
I was so embarrassed when everyone said that the visitors were going to look at fabric stores, and I thought, what fabric stores? We only have the two named ones, which are both hopeless. It must be their lowest tier. Sometimes you can get something decent, but most of the time it's rubbish. There's a lot of shops that have quilting fabrics,
Yep.
but not apparel fabrics. But they do have a lot of haberdashery. There's two major ones, Zigzag and Thorpe's, that provide a lot. But when I was a kid, I'd go with my mother. It was an all-day tour down Hunter Street to all the fabric stores, and every suburb had a haberdashery store that stocked wool, zips, buttons, laces, fabric, everything you could think of. But the big names forced them out, as in the case, I guess, of so many regional centres. So I do buy online, which I don't like because I love to feel. But I've only been caught twice with what I've bought online, and that was to do more with the colour than the actual fabric. They've still been good quality fabric. It was just not as an intense colour as what the photograph showed, but still not. It's still a buzz when I get it and open the parcel, but not the same as going and feeling.
No, not at all. No. Touching and feeling is what motivates you to buy. You don't get that experience online.
No, that's like Frocktails, where you had carte blanche to stroke people.
Stroke their clothes, not the people, the clothes.
My mother used to do that when I was young, and I was horrified. She'd grab someone's dress and feel it and say something like, oh my God, and now I do it. I think it's something all sewers do.
It is. So, Julie, tell us about the Ladies Who Lunch in Frocktails. How did that happen?
Okay, I tried pre-COVID. I had we had one meeting of sewers one Saturday night, and I tried to get a few lunchtime ones going. COVID happened and it all fell apart. And the beautiful Sue, modelled by Madge, she saw Karen, and they tweaked. They were both on Instagram, and they were having coffee. And Penny came past and looked at Sue and said, aren't you modelled by Madge? They got together, and then they decided, well, let's get together for lunch. So we do, and we tell anyone and everyone who sews. So it's the last Tuesday of every month locally. And sometimes there's only 4 or 5 of us. Other times there's 12. And it's just fantastic. We don't sew. We just talk nonstop. Fabric, patterns, sewing. Not very often do we get onto other topics. It's just en masse sewing, which is great. Everyone stands up. Oh, look at this I made, and and how's a fit at the back? And yeah, it's a fantastic fun. Do you know what? I feel like I found my tribe.
Oh, good.
It's just amazing. All my other friends, no one understands if I start talking sewing, but I just go there and we're all in a world of sewing and fabric. It's just fantastic. We're all the same. And we've all become good friends, which is really good.
Yeah. It was very obvious at Frocktails because it seemed to run quite smoothly from a guest point of view. I had a fabulous time.
Oh, that's so great. That's really good. It was a great night, even though I was stressed. I was so stressed. And we got through it. I don't think I'll be stressed next time. I think we've been there, done that, know the pitfalls and just how beautiful everyone is when they come. And it was so funny. I'd see people walking past, and I was looking at Karen and Penny and going, they must be coming here. Look how well dressed they are. They couldn't be going anywhere else.
Was it Jean who introduced you to the Sew 50 community on Instagram?
When she pointed the way, I didn't realise Sew Over 50 was there. I think I found it by default.
Yep.
And it was Sandy, I found, started messaging me, and she was so welcoming. Because I felt like a voyeur, just, dibbling in and looking at it, thinking, I'm not good enough. I can't put my photos there. But Sandy was just so beautiful and welcoming. It was just wonderful. So that was so great to meet her that night too. Not that I really got to speak to her.
There'll be other opportunities, you know that.
There will be.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I'm going to try and expand myself. I've never used a rotary cutter. I'm trying to learn how to use that. Very interested in sashiko at the moment. Penny knows how to do sashiko. We might get some tips and start, because we have all just started doing Trello.
Really?
Sue mentioned Trello.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I have no idea. So Sue organised a morning tea, and off we went up to Louisa's house and showed us how to use Trello. And I went mad the first day. I'm saying, I'm up to 150 patterns already.
Oh, you're using Trello to document what you've got in your stash.
Yeah, Yes, because we all have the same problem. I thought it was only me, and I was a bit worried that you end up with the same pattern several times. You think, did I buy that or not? It's on sale. I'll just buy it. We'll know now what we've bought and not bought. It's fantastic. We just put in the line drawing, and we've got it in, put it in categories of dresses, tops, pants, jackets, and then, whatever pattern, number or
Yep.
company, and a line drawing. So we know.
Being a technically minded nerd that I am, what happens when you have a pattern that's got a top and pants?
Well, we put in both. We put it on the top
Good.
and we couldn't figure that one out. So we've got one in top, one in, so the same one will come up twice.
Okay, thanks, Julie.
There might be another way, I don't know.
Okay, all right. No, that's really good because I've always stumbled with that. So I really appreciate your advice.
Oh, Sue was amazing. We all said, you should have been a teacher. She was so patient with us. Like, we were all pretty like, oh, show me that again, do that again. But she was wonderful. I think she's, I don't know how many thousand patterns I've lost count. Thousands.
And how are you going to start your Shiko journey?
When we get together, I'll probably just start doing little bits, but I'd like to make a jacket and put some panels in. I know it's traditionally used for mending, but I think it's gorgeous as embroidery. I just saw Jane from Pillow Parlance. She
Yes.
posted and had a beautiful white linen dress with white boro on it. And she said it was mending. And I said, it looks so gorgeous. To me, it's embroidery. It's just beautiful. It's something I can't do. After Mum passed away, all her beautiful, they had doilies, and they'd have a long one and then the two small ones. Well, these ones that her aunties or dad's sisters had made, and I can't tell the front from the back with their embroidery. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, they really did a lot of work to make it look just as good on the front and the back, and so that you couldn't tell.
Oh, it's incredible. To me, the back, I'd be, who cares, in my slapdash way. But that's just beautiful, yeah.
So, Julie, what advice would you give to someone who has sewn for a long time but hasn't gotten onto Instagram? What advice would you give them?
Look at it for a while, find which sites you like. I would tell them to go straight to Sew Over 50, have a look at that, and get inspired. There's such inspiration there. I've got a lot of friends who used to sew but haven't sewed for 30 or 40 years and haven't got a machine anymore. I've been trying to inspire them, but everyone goes, you can buy clothes so cheaply. But I guess, as we know, what we make isn't as cheap, but it's our hobby. I love doing it, even though you might hear a lot of swearing here at times.
Yes.
I just finished making 2 dog jackets. That's my sewing at the moment.
And are they your dogs?
No, my grand dog.
Oh,
So he's got 2 dog jackets, but he came in this gorgeous cardigan that my son bought him. It came up for $10. So I went, why am I doing this? It costs a fortune. And he said, oh, yeah, but I'll probably wash this and it will fall apart. At least yours will last. I thought, oh, good. That's nice.
you got 5 stars from him.
Yes, I also got him a few years ago. He loves good knives for cutting meat and everything. And he said, you know what? I now know why you used to scream at us for using your scissors.
Yeah, there's a difference.
The one thing Jean said to me about this, are you going to tell them about your storage cage? I said, I don't know. I downsized and shifted it to an apartment nearly 3 years ago. And I bought a storage cage downstairs just to put some of my stash in.
Hang on, some of your stash? Where's the rest of it?
The rest is sort of stuck around here in wardrobes and cupboards.
And do you know what's in your storage cage?
I do.
Oh, good.
I do. I can even tell you with some of them when I bought it and how much it cost.
You're one up on me.
Sometimes, I said.
Okay.
But I gave lots away when I shifted. You know the big blue and white stripe, red and white stripe bags you get at the junk store? Those huge. I gave about 12 of those full of fabric away to charity.
12. The really large bags.
Yes.
Okay, that's a lot of fabric, Julie.
And nearly as much when my mother passed away, and with wool. Oh, it was really good. I found some really good charities for them to go to where it will be used. So that was really good. It wasn't being wasted at all, which is great.
Oh, that's good. Didn't go to landfill, and the money that they raised went to whatever community that they're supporting.
Exactly. which is really good.
We'll have to put those charities on the blog post.
Yes, yep, it's really good. There was one charity a nun was running with for refugees, and she was also having people there teach them to sew. So I gave a lot there. And another one is called Survivors Are Us. They make things and sell them, but also make clothes for the homeless and knit clothes for them. And I also donated Mum's sewing machine and an old sewing machine of mine and my old overlocker to them too, so they could use it. It's just so good, very important, I think, instead of just throwing them out.
It doesn't just provide the machinery to be able to sew, but it provides the skills for people to learn how to sew and eventually earn an income from that skill.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, that's really good of you, Julie. It was very thoughtful.
I thought about it and I just didn't want to waste. I guess, you're brought up when you're as old as I am, like waste. People go, throw that away, you can just go and buy a new one, at Kmart or Bunnings or something. And I think, no.
That's true.
Yeah.
Julie, thank you for coming onto the podcast with Sober 50. It's been a pleasure to talk to you again, but also to have met you at Newcastle Frocktails, where hopefully I can catch up with you again and more people can come and meet you and the ladies who lunch.
Yes, wonderful.
Julie, thank you again for being on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've been absolutely delighted to speak to you.
Same here. Thank you.
Happy sewing.
Yeah, happy sewing.
Bye.
Bye, Julie. This episode of Sober 50 podcast on So Organised Style was produced by me, Maria Theoharis, with permission of Julie, sound by bensound.com. Many thanks for the ongoing support of the podcast Patreon contributors. Their ongoing support enables me to produce these podcasts for free. Make sure you direct message Sandy and the editors at Sober50 on Instagram to contribute to the ongoing posts, challenges and guest editorial spots to promote the community of over 49,000 followers. You can subscribe to So Organised Style podcast, but with an S not a Z on all good podcast apps. Make sure you go back and listen to our free Sober50 podcast archive on So Organised Style. We look forward to joining you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.